Okay, welcome back everyone to my video podcast on the future of business and technology. Today we want to look at how Docusign is using artificial intelligence to bring agreements into the 21st century. And to help me do this, I'm joined today by Allan Thygesen, who is the CEO of Docusign. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so maybe we can start by you telling us a little bit more about yourself and your journey to CEO at Docusign.
Sure. So I took work in Europe. I am a native Dane. I grew up in Copenhagen, lived there for 24 years, loved it, and still go back regularly. Parents, family there. Um, Came to the US in '86. Had three phases of my career before DocuSign. I did a series of startups and rode the Silicon Valley roller coaster, had a full range of outcomes. Then I was a venture capitalist for a decade. Most of the time I was a partner at Carlyle and invested in um, private companies, high growth companies across a variety of sectors. And then I was at Google for 12 years, leading various parts of the ads business, which is the primary business at Google. Visited, again, Europe very regularly. I ran the global S&P business initially, so I was coming to both London and Dublin on a regular basis. And then about 2 years ago, I took the job as CEO of Docusign. And it's been fantastic, everything I could have ever imagined and more. And we're still on the journey.
Your ambition is to bring agreements into the 21st century.
Yes.
I would love to know why you think that is important and why are agreements broken today?
Well, it's interesting. We digitized many things for consumer businesses. And we've, of course, also digitized agreements. We moved them in, we outlaid them in Word, and we send them around on email, and hopefully we sign them electronically. And that's about it. Other than that, everything about agreements remain as brittle, delayed, and unpredictable as it's ever been. And that introduces just a tremendous amount of efficiency loss for businesses of all sizes. And it's not just all the time and uncertainty that's spent processing the agreement, although that's very sizable. It's also that once you negotiate the agreement, the strength then is you spend all this time on that, and then you put it in a deep, dark place. There's no visibility into what's actually in the agreement. There's no follow-up on whether either party is doing what they said they were going to do, which of course also means that when you renew the agreement, typically you lack that information and you don't have context about how to improve it.
Yeah,
And so
interesting.
we've been involved in various steps in journey.
Yeah, so what's the solution to this and how will AI transform contract and agreement management?
Yeah, so sometimes it's good to be lucky, right? I joined DocuSign just as there was I think a step change in what we could do with AI right around the time when GPT 3.5 launched. Um, and that has really transformed. If you think about what agreements are today, they're essentially unstructured data files. They're a flat image of often the PDF, even if they're a Word document. There's no actual context of what's in them. And then it's a perfect problem for AI. And so if we work backwards in the life cycle of agreements, just starting with the end, when you have a finished agreement, AI is perfectly suited to extract the essential data from that agreement. Then, of course, we can make that available in search, chat, a tabular format, tailored to different audiences, and we can compare it to two things. One, what actually happened, so we can pull data from whatever system, CRM system, HR system, ERP system, whatever system has the data about the actual outcomes and compare it. And we can compare agreements to each other. And so that is a perfect application for AI. We've already launched this earlier this year. And it's a remarkably ubiquitous value proposition. Companies of all sizes and all industries across all workflows struggle with that. Now, we then work backwards. We can use AI at many steps. Maybe start at the beginning. When you're creating the agreement, you could, of course, use AI to start with a template and then have it customized for you. Say, I want it customized for this party and I want do this and this, and the agreement can be generated that way. So that's another application of AI. Or if you receive an agreement from a third party, we can essentially review it and benchmark it versus agreements that you made in the past, highlight the exceptions, redline it almost as if a first legal review, and make that available. And that's just much more efficient for companies. So AI plays a role at every step, and we're working on all of them.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. So how does DocuSign put AI to work then as part of your intelligent agreement management platform?
Yeah. So you today when you sign a document with DocuSign, we store it. We just don't do much with it. It's a fairly dumb file system. Acknowledging that. So it exists, but there's no processing. There's really no very visibility, and so we dramatically upgraded that into what we call an intelligent repository, essentially an intelligent storage of the agreement, and that suddenly provides all this visibility that I talked about. So, and we only, of course, ingest your agreements with your consent. You have to consent to contribute those agreements that have the model learning on them. And then we anonymize and aggregate your data. And then we run the AI and do the extractions. Of course, the extractions will only go to you. So it's not just a great application for AI because it's credible. It's something AI to do with high accuracy, but it's also very safe. There's not a lot of hallucination or conjuring up with whatever the AI might imagine. You're literally just extracting and pointing to data and system agreements. So we find that it's a great trade-off looking at people up and running very fast. There's an immediate value and it's low risk. And then as we move to the other applications of AI, it gets a little bit trickier. So we've also now launched this agreement review. I think that's also something that can be done because again, there's an existing document and you're essentially extracting and proposing edits, and then there's hero review of that. I think the last frontier is generating agreements de novo, right? And how could we imagine a day where the agreements generated by an AI or perhaps even negotiated by an AI? I think we're a ways away from that, and how comfortable we will all be, and how high the accuracy rate has to be. And so we're certainly experimenting with that and seeing some interest, and that's more of the research interpretation phase.
Yeah, no, I can see huge applications and huge benefits for this. For me, it's a perfect use case for AI, actually. And lots of the clients I've been working with for many years, they're using some type of AI to help them draft contracts and review contracts. So I'd love to get your perspective on the best use cases for how AI and your intelligent agreement management platform are actually benefiting businesses. So in other words, why are you so convinced this new category will transform businesses similar to other technologies like customer relationship management and enterprise resource management have done in the past?
Yes. And we do believe we have that kind of opportunity. This is one of the great white space opportunities in software. I think let me give you three examples that I think we see very broadly across our customer base. The first one is in a sales context. If you are a business selling to other businesses, you want to know when your agreements are up for renewal. You want to know what the notice periods are. You want to know what terms it might go option to try to renegotiate, and you want to empower every frontline seller and the management hierarchy behind them with that information. That's not available today. Sales reps and their managers essentially start over, and very often they miss windows and miss things that are obvious improvements. And so that is a very immediate and popular application. And of course, the flip side of that is procurement. So companies buy from other companies. They usually struggle with managing their vendors, onboarding new vendors, understanding whether their vendors are performing, and then we're negotiating with them. And so we find procurement being a very powerful use case in AI. Very important. Procurement teams are typically fairly small, so they're even more resource constrained. And so having tools that can make them more productive is very important. And the third one I would say is recruiting and HR. These are high volume processes involve lots of individuals, and there being able to tailor agreements and packages on the fly. It's very, very important. What the candidate experience is, can you move to closer, but can you make sure that you're complying with all the regulatory aspects? And we find that's a very, very popular application. So I would say sales, procurement, HR.
Interesting. So I guess this would change your traditional customer base, right? With the use of these intelligent forms.
Yeah, no, yes and no. I mean, first of all, we are a very big industry. We have 1.6 million monthly paying business entities that work with Docusign today, and it is incredibly horizontal. It's practically a GDP index. Many people encounter Docusign virtually in the context of financial services, mortgages, or a bank loan, or opening an account. But we're used very broadly across those application areas that I mentioned. So I think that we're already in most companies. We're in over 80% of the FTSE 100 as an example. And so I don't think we're going to be adding that many new names, if you will, because we're already in so many. But we will certainly broaden our footprint and value proposition. And I suspect that the weighting of the use cases will vary, right? A lot of people were using Docusign for sales. I'm sure everybody just receive something that's effectively a sales document, whether you are in the business context or the consumer. And that'll indeed be very important. But I think the procurement use case example will probably get greater weight because those are they're almost always negotiated contracts in a business to business context. And we have a really strong value proposition for that now.
Interesting. So we now have generative AI capabilities. We have agentic AI. Do you envisage a future where contracts will be written, negotiated, committed, and renewed all by AI? And what's your view on human versus machine?
Yes, I think it'll be technically possible to do that with high accuracy for simple agreements in rather short order. I mean, we're not that far away from that. Whether humans will want to let go, I think, is a different matter. But let's take something simple like an NDA that is often exchanged in trade harmonies. I think you could absolutely imagine that the parties say, okay, we actually an NDA and triggers an AI-driven agent that, exchanges, looks at the language from two parties, depending on the relative size to negotiating power, and then, tries to resolve it. And it only gets kicked up to human review if it can't. It's mostly, it would be flipped, but I think there's an inordinate amount of time spent on NDAs today that, really there's not that much to discuss. And so I think that's an example of a simple agreement where it's pretty standardized, literally may be able to fully automate that. But I think for a variety of reasons, including risk, compliance, regulatory, and others, and just human factors, I think it'll be a while before anything but the most trivial agreements get used. I think there'll always be a human in the loop at the end at a minimum. And for more complex agreements, I think AI can do a first draft or a first edit, but there'll be multiple rounds for human engagement.
Yeah, from a personal perspective, I love this idea because I'm not legally trained. I sign contracts for speaking engagements and consulting projects pretty much every other day. So if I could have my own AI trained in what I would like and then to review the contracts for me and to redraft them, I think that would be so beneficial.
Well, stay tuned, brother. We'll try to do that for you.
Yeah, good question. So what's the long-term vision for Docusign?
I think ultimately, if we're successful, we will develop the first system of record for agreements. Today, there is no such system. We used to store agreements in file cabinets, at least then they knew where they were. Now they're on some SharePoint or G Drive or something somewhere or somebody's email. They can't even find them, let alone what's in them. If we can deliver and one adoption of an intelligent repository that's not just used by people who are touching the agreement, but then by other systems that are looking for the authoritative source for agreements. So if you're Salesforce or your SAP or your Workday or equivalent systems, they're looking for an authoritative source for agreements. We can be that. Then I think we will have succeeded and become a really important platform. I think we're the best position to do it, but it's a long work to get there.
Yeah, really good. So what role do you think AI will play in the future?
Yeah, so for us, I think we discussed just how important that we couldn't fulfill this mission without. I mean, I'd like to say that all this workflow stuff is a huge enabler. I think we're making those much easier, much easier to create them and manage them and make them more efficient and delightful for everybody. But if that was all it was, I think it would be exciting and important, but not revolutionary. But with AI, it changes the game. And I think that's true across many enterprise software categories. I think because agreements have seen so little integration, there's so much more room. And because of the nature of agreements being unstructured data today, it's so well suited to AI. So I think we're in a particularly good position. And so I think we could recognize that agreements are ripe for being reimagined with AI. But across so many software categories, it's going to change the frontier of what's possible. We're seeing that in software development. We're seeing it in customer service and sales. We're seeing it in practically every function of the company.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I'd love to get your perspective on your leadership ambition. What are your imperatives for the year ahead?
Yeah, I think for 2025, we just launched this platform at the end of May, initially to mid-market customers. So it's stretch maybe with about up to a few thousand employees. We've since launched it globally and we're also our first enterprise edition. 2025 is really the year where we're scaling up and delivering on that vision. It's a multi-year journey, but we want to make real progress. It should accelerate the growth of the company. And so that is my primary goal. So much of 2024 and even 2023 was about developing the platform, particularly the vision, developing the platform and launching it. And now it's really about the go-to-market, about getting out there, individual customers, of course, convincing them and then getting the adoption and the actual success and the actual business impact. We're off to a really good start. I'm really proud of what we've done this year, but yeah, there's still a lot of work to do. So that's really my primary focus is delivering real value to our customers across multiple segments and geographies, beyond what we've historically done. And I think we're on a good path to do that.
Looking at future trends, then, I would love to know what major trends you are keeping a close eye on, particularly in the context of business process automation and digital agreements.
Yeah. Um, Several things. I'm keeping a close eye, obviously, on developments in core AI. It's really astounding, the pace of innovation there. I've been in tech for 40 years, and I've never seen anything move at the pace. I mean, just as one indicator, you talk a lot about the processing ability and the uh, speed of new AI models. One way to flip that around is that our costs to process an agreement have dropped by 2 orders of magnitude in the last 15 months as a result of the combination of continued investments by all the big players and all the data centers and the much more efficient models that we have now, our own optimizations. And so just the rate of progress is incredible. And so I feel it's existential for me to be a fairly deep level of understanding of those trends, both in terms of the slope, but even how it's changing over time. I think the second part is customer sentiment. What I think we're pivoting right now from there was the initial euphoria after the initial launches, and then there was because it was so heavily hyped and so over the top in every media. Then there was the fear phase. There was afraid I was going to take over the world, and I think what we're in now is let's prove it out with some initial use cases that are tangible, real, in moving from research to deployment, which is a very good phase for us, as we've discussed, and really understanding customer readiness and what they need to be able to move from that research phase into scale deployments. That's the big unlock and being able to deliver on that. So that's the second one. I think the regulatory landscape is a huge frame for us, and it varies by country. I think the UK is actually at the forefront of smart regulation in this area. There's a lot of regulation out there in the world, but I think the UK, and this is my experience in Google as well, UK regulators tend to be among the most balanced and considering all of the consumer interest, competition, privacy, balancing all those things. But it's a very complicated area. It'd be very easy to tip the market, for example, into something that benefits a very small number of large players, or conversely, have it be, so unshackled that you have adverse consequences. And so I think this measured risk assessment philosophy is appropriate, but the devil's in the details.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Alan. That was truly fascinating. I think using AI in agreement management is such a brilliant use case. So thank you very much. And for anyone who ever wants to rewatch this conversation or many similar conversations on the future of business and technology, simply head to my YouTube channel. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Bernard. It was really a pleasure.